This is the Red All Show of me, Josh Atherton, Andy Simcox, Alan Smith, and Craig Wood. No game this week, so finally we've got a bit of time to sort of decompress, and we can have a bit of deep dive and look at Neill Collins' first 12 games in charge and see where we think it can improve, where we've been solid, and things we can look for in the future. So, Andy, it feels like it's been a bit of a mixed bag so far this season, in terms of some good points, some performances that haven't been great. It's been a little bit inconsistent, but there's been a lot of turbulence to sort of fuel that in a way, hasn't there? Sort of the inconsistency.
It has. It's been a strange old season. I think we started. Well, I'm going to say we started slow. We only won 7-0 in the first game. We started slow because the manager left, the head coach. The new one, Neill, came in, but he came in late. So we had a bit of a mess about with the pre-season friendlies. So we started late, as far as got some friendlies in, but not that many. So I think we were still playing some pre-season friendlies when the season started. We just changed everything. Everything changed right at the start. When you're talking about different goalkeeper entirely, different. The three centre halves that have been playing are all gone. I've said before, we sold 2 captains in the transfer window in the summer, which is during the transfer window, which is a bit careless. But we got decent money, so as long as that's invested, we'll be better. So it started slow with people, melding together. We were all quite happy, I think, with the strike force, or thought we might need a bit more. Than James left, and we could have done with another one, but we got one. We got Sam Cosgrove. But he's got to get up to speed, in my opinion. It's not his fault. He's just got to go up to speed. So I don't think that's too bad. The midfield were fine. We thought and I still think we've probably got the best midfield in it. And then Luca is poorly. So it's just starting to come back. So, the whole of the defence, including the goalkeeper, striker going on the eve of the season, Luca going off, it threw everything into disarray. And then we won 7-0, which were quite remarkable in its own way, followed up by a good draw at Bristol Rovers. But I do think we rode his luck a little bit at Bristol Rovers. And then we hit the skids with some home matches against good opposition. So that knocked us duck back a bit, really. So at home, we've been a bit iffy, wherever it is, 4 defeats out of 6 games against decent sides, as has to be said. And two other sides are at the top of the table, and rightly so, based on how they played at Oakwell. But it was something that we had to learn quick. The away form's been nigh on exemplary. I'm still not sure what our style is, both at home and away from home. Is it pressing hard, like we did a week ago, and got some great rewards with it? Or sitting back a bit like we did against Exeter and not pressing hard. Cambridge we pressed really, really well, and it looked pretty good, and we absolutely dominated, particularly the first half. Not so much against Exeter. And again, people can say, "Oh, we're lucky they hit the post twice." They were off target. Remember that, they were off target. So they won't count in your stats as being on target, would they, Al? Al, they won't count, would they? You're Mr. You're 2 at bottom. You're Mr. Stats. You're 2. So it's for me, I'm still not sure that he knows what his best side is. They're all getting to know each other bit by bit. The defence gets disrupted. We changed last week, we changed the wing backs. We've done that a couple of times where we've changed both wing backs, truthfully, to good effect. Whichever 2 wing backs have come off and the other 2 they've gone on, it's generally made a difference. So that's a positive. I'm just not sure what our style is. I thought, and I still think, that Neill Collins wanted to continue a high press, which is, I think, why I was appointed to continue after Michael Duff. And he did that against Cambridge, but we've not done it so much lately. I think it's what he wants, but he's got to get the players to do it in the way that he wants to do it. I think, well, who knows? Up and down, mixed bag. But we're third. So, we can't be doing that bad if we're third.
It's true. Rating out of 10? What would you say so far?
Well, we're third. It's got to be 7. 1 point off for each of the home defeats. It could be 6, but I'm only going to get half. I'm not going to count Blackpool because we were robbed. So I'm not counting the Blackpool home match. We were robbed. They
No,
scored it by a penalty that were fair enough, but we should have had at least a couple of penalties. So we were robbed, in my humble opinion.
at least a
7.
couple.
At least a couple. 4 in my view, but at least 2 depots. But, what do I know?
Al, I think we're a point worse off or a point better off. I can't remember which way it is compared to this time last season, but we were 5th at this point as well, whereas we're 3rd this season. So obviously the quality in terms of top end of the table is not the same as what it was last year, but it's a tricky one in terms of how inconsistent we've been. But to still be sat 3rd is not the worst place or case scenario that we could have. It's not bad at all, really, is it?
It's better than what I thought we'd be with a new gaffer and new players coming in to blend in together and get together and be a team. And as John McAtee said in his press conference at weekend, it's a good dressing room. That's what we're worried about, is a dressing room, going to blend together and all get on. And that's the basic of it. If they all fit in well together, we can go places. And it's strange, isn't it? Away from home, we world beaters, and at home, it's a mishmash of a season, isn't it? Winning 2 out of 6 and losing 4. If we can get us home form as good as us away form, I'm thinking sky's the limit. Automatic is there for taking. In a poor League One, when you're 3rd and we've lost 4 at home, and 3 with 3 goals against us, and we're still in 3rd. Yeah, you've got to think: is it a poor league, or are we lucky to be up there? I don't think we're lucky to be up there. I think it's well deserved. We've been more clinical in front of goal as well this season. That's the difference as well from last season, I think, as well. And I think Collins has come in with John Stead from Tampa Bay, and he didn't have his pre-season, did he? And I think that's where it set us back. We didn't have a good pre-season, and you could say his first 4 games in this league could be his pre-season to get us up to speed. And as Colin says, with under 10 games under his belt, we're still not where we want to be. So he realises that, accept that, but we're going away as next game's Leighton Orient away and yet another away game before we get back to Oakwell on, I think, is it 24th, is it, of this month? Let's have a thought. Yeah, 24th. So it's a long time before we've had a home game. So hopefully they can iron out the problems what we had at home, and we can more, not let opposition control the game. We've got to control the game at home. And I think that's the difference. Colin's got to get into them that we've got to be better at home. And if we can put that form from away at Oakwell, I think we'll win more than we'll lose.
Yeah, it's been a strange one, hasn't it, Craig? Because obviously, when you're at home, you sort of, as Al said, you sort of expected to go and dictate the game, and you're expected to win at home much more than you are away. And it seems we've struggled, especially against the better sides that we play, the Peterboroughs, Oxfords, Blackpool, and Portsmouth. Which you look at them sides, most of them are well up there. You can accept losing to them, but obviously the margins and the way in which we have in some of those games is a little bit of a cause for concern in terms of competing. But I will preface that with last season against Ipswich, we got rolled over by them 3-0 and never looked like being in that game.
Yeah, I think what it is our home fixtures have been a lot harder than his away fixtures. We've gone away to Cambridge, and some of the lower down teams, but we seem to have had the really good teams come to our home. I think combine that with the fact is they're probably going to play more defensive when they come to our ground than what they would at their own ground. I think our atmosphere at home as well has not been as good as it is away. I think it's drab and dull. Majority of the home games, unless we're winning, I don't think us fans are singing as loud as we did, especially a couple of seasons ago. I thought we were a lot louder. I don't know why that is. But like I say, if the noises around stadium, it's going to give the players more emphasis to try harder. and I think it does work. But for some reason this season, I don't know what it is. Maybe too many negative things flying about at the minute, and the fans are just not as enthusiastic as they should be. But you got to look at some positives this season. Collins has come in, is following Duff, which is going to be a tough task. Duff were a fantastic manager for us, and to say that he's maybe a point or two off where we were last season, with top goal scorers in the league, we've got 6 clean sheets out of 12. We've got top goal scorer in the squad. Attacking wise, we have not got an issue really. In terms of us pressing, I think we rely off triggers rather than just relentless. I think we have to wait for them to make a mistake for us to press. You know, the triggers are like, I know, defender miscontrolling or a misplaced pass to another central defender will trigger a press. It's to save stamina, you know. So we're not just relentlessly chasing the ball around for 90 minutes, which is just not conducive to a match these days. But I've been fairly impressed, and I'd say a 7 out of 10, because one thing I've been happy about this season is nobody except the goalkeeper is guaranteed to start every game, because there's people in behind them who's pushing them. It feels this season we have got a full squad, and nobody's irreplaceable. Like I say, except for the goalkeeper, who's been absolutely outstanding for us. And it's all about just relationships growing. And I feel if we could get the atmosphere at home a little bit better, I feel like give these players a little bit more time. I don't think we've got any significant weaknesses. As defence were my biggest concern coming into the start, and I predicted 9th off the back of that. But De Givenet's come in, and he seems like if he can continue the way he's been going, I think he's going to be one of our best players this season by far, him and Roberts especially. And I think Lapata's been a good addition. Also McCart, I think he's slowed down past couple of games, but I don't think he's playing bad at all. So the worries I had coming into the season have kind of nullified a little bit by performances I've seen. And I think, look, we're not going to win every game. And I think expectations need to be realised that football's not a solid line. There's ups and there's downs. There's times when you're gonna have. I mean, we've had some bad decisions. We've had some bad results when we didn't deserve to lose and we've lost. And we've had ones where we've won a game where we shouldn't have won. So it's all about ebbs and flows. But I think we're just going to get stronger as the season goes on. And I'd agree with 7 out of 10.
So what I found interesting, Craig, is that in the summer, it were all doom and gloom, wasn't it? There was a lot of negativity about the players that had gone and the players that we'd signed. Including from me, I'm not exempt from all that. And the players that we thought, oh, flipping it, why aren't we getting players that are of a quality that we need? We're never going to get anywhere getting young players from non-league. And so far, for me, they've proved us wrong.
Yeah.
The recruitment team
I want to give credit,
done well.
Andy,
Yeah.
I want to give credit to John Stead, because I think John Stead has fetched Devante Colon even more than last season. And you've got to think he was a decent striker, and I think he's learning off him personally.
I think that combination of John Stead and Collins is a really good mix, because you got your attacking and your defensive qualities in there, and both played at the similar level, so they know exactly what to expect. So yeah, it's been fantastic, and I just want to see it rest of season, how the team gets better and better. And if we do have any additions in January, it'll be interesting to see where, because I can't really see a profound weakness.
Just something into it, Craig, after what everybody thought in the summer. And in fact, until recently, when Casper got injured, we were all going, who's going to play at the back? There's about 3 that could play at the back, and we're not sure. It's going to affect it all. And MDG, I'm going to say that rather than his name. I want to call him MDF because I'll get confused. MDG, he's been absolutely outstanding after a rocky start.
I've seen a lot of
it's
stuff
been superb,
on X
absolutely superb.
Twitter where fans are arguing. Oh, you said he was rubbish after the first game. Yeah. Look, opinions evolve over time. Opinions change. That's what an opinion is. So instead of just having a go at each other, finding a reason to call somebody out and say, "Oh, you were wrong," ha ha ha, just concentrate and just watch the games. You know, you get no extra points for being a complete.
It'll never change being a
whatever.
tie.
You know,
It's like that for you, Craig.
It's pointless though.
Change.
It's
It
like
is, it'll never change.
You know what, Al? I wish I'd
grow up. You know, it's like
I'd
they're in schoolyard, and it's like, come on, really? You know, you said this 2 weeks ago. So
I wish
what?
I'd seen some early shows that Craig were on, and I could have called him out.
That's it. Yeah,
could have called him out.
Opinions change, and people. Yeah. That's
anyway,
it.
in my opinion, after your tools get 7, I'm going half. 7.5 for me.
He always has to go one more, doesn't he? Yeah.
Tommy Topper over there. Can't believe it. No, I think when you look at sort of everything Collins had to deal with at the start of this season, it's hard for anyone to come in, especially he came in late, as you've all said already, came in late, lost the spine of the team, especially that back three that was sort of so solid and so consistent last season, lost the keeper. There's bound to be a bedding period. In fact, we're sat third, and you'd rather be on the other side of not playing brilliantly but getting a result, rather than there's nothing worse than when we're in Championship and you're playing against either got Barnsley, a really good side, just beat them 3-1. Like, all right, cheers, fantastic. Like, you'd much rather be on the other side of the fence of being like, yeah, weren't great, but 1-0. See you later. Thanks for 3 points. And building on that, like I don't really get that aspect. Like, well, we didn't play well. Like, well, so what? We've still got 3 points and we've won. So
that's why I said Pep's ruined football, because
you take 3 points over the performance.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day,
matter.
it's not the performance that's going to win you matches. At the end of the day, it's putting ball back in net and scoring more than your position and getting points on tape, which we're doing.
Especially with a sliding header, Al.
Last video, I said,
it's the future.
I said that Pep's ruined football because everybody expects every game to be beautiful, to be poetry in motion, to seem like players are just sliding around and just, just effortless the way he makes football look. But this is League One. This is not.
If we're getting poetry in motion,
£500,000 a week players. You know what I mean? So I don't know why they expect to see that. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to dig deep, and you're going to have to fight hard for points down here. I think that's why I love it so much.
If we're getting poetry in motion, Craig.
I don't know if you saw our last goal, but a bish bash bosh knee slide header.
I know. I've seen that.
Actually, he heads it before he needs slides. So
Tony Baker attributed it to me, and it was Smithy that said it.
I know.
I'll tell you what, Al. I'll tell you what, Al. All these goals across us and across the other, all this knee sliding. They'll regret it when they get to our age, won't they, Al? They'll regret all that knee sliding. Not be good.
Did you see it tweet on Owen Dodson? He criticised he went nearly flat on his face after it goal.
Yeah.
It didn't go well for Owen, bless him.
He got an assist, that's all that matters.
That needs to work, that knee slide.
He needs to do an Alan Shearer, just stick his arm in air. It's safest.
I don't think Eddie Moses would like that one, Andy.
Yeah.
Eddie Moses don't like Shearer.
We put a tweet out earlier to see what everyone else was thinking around Collins. And to be fair, I think most replies, to be honest, have more or less sit with what we've got. But what was the general consensus from what we were getting?
Well, I'll tell you a few. I'll read you a few. Mikey Mushu, all the way from Cornwall, said there's 2 sides for me. So far, it's been a mixed bag. Decent away, some downfall against the better teams at home. I think we'll look like better when Connell comes back and new signings bedding better will grow under Collins. Matt Warren said, started 2 weeks into pre-season. No keeper from last season still at the club. 3 first-choice centre-halves no longer at the club. Best midfielder from last season not kicked a ball. 3rd in the league. Better at this stage than last season. A great start, in my opinion. BFC, I think it's brilliant. I have no idea, BFC, but the hashtag is Kitten Heaven. That I liked. BFC Kitten Heaven. Sounds like it's Smithy. Can't grumble, can we? 3rd in the league without playing well and missing our best player. The league's there for the taking, so fingers crossed. Alan's mate, Vance Buller, V. Bull, says, superb considering transition and garbage pre-season. Only way is up, and it'll only get better and better. Wayne Squires, who comments on the show and does quite well. I'm on the fence, to be honest, with third, but whenever we come up against a strong team, we seem to struggle. But I trust Neill Collins. James, what's his name? Kivington says, I'll happily sat in third. I think I'm happy. You only think, James, don't you? You only think. Stevie BFC says, definite room for improvement. Roda look at times, still learning and improving with a new squad. Higher in the league than I expected. This made me chuckle. Sambora Danny. Oh, Sambora Danny. Oh, Danny. A few good performances. Mostly mediocre. Lots of calamitous performance and sticking by players who should be nowhere near the team. 6 out of 10 for me. Can't be that calamitous, Sambora Danny, can it? It's 6 out of 10. They weren't happy. I thought you were going to do what you would do. So, -3 for me, but no, 6. So that's all right, Danny. You didn't do too bad. Not too bad. All things considered, doing well. Danny Finney, third in the league. Exemplary away record. We've looked flat at times. I don't think we've got a settled starting 11 yet. I think he's right. Poor Danny thinks we're being mid-table without Super Liam Roberts in goal. Richard Garnett, and I'll keep it just to this one. Richard Garnett says we're very defensive-minded. Neill Collins still doesn't know his best team, but with that said, we're third in the league, and we're still to get going yet. So if we've not got going yet, according to Richard, which I think is probably a fair comment, and we're third, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think there's a few sort of key themes which have come out of that there. I think there's especially from what other people have been saying, because obviously we look at sort of the good defensive record. We've mentioned already 6 clean sheets, but and sort of we've not conceded too many goals, to be honest. But Liam Roberts, I think Udogo came put a tweet out saying that Roberts had already made more saves than Collins had made in like 2/3 of a season last year. How much of a cause for concern is that, Andy, in terms of how busy Roberts has been? Because all it needs is him, he has been phenomenal so far this season. And I'd say he's already won us maybe 9-12 points, some of the saves he's made.
I think he's made some great saves, absolutely great saves. But it's his job. You know, he's not divorced from the rest of the team. We don't play with 10 players, we play with 11. That includes a goalkeeper. You know, Harry Eisted was superb last year for us when he got into the team. So you could have said the same then. But I do appreciate he's made lots of good saves, and he's been phenomenal for us. Remember, you've said it, the spine. So new goalkeeper, new centre halves, new central midfield, basically. With Luca being injured, new main striker up front, James Norwood going and what have you. So it's big changes, and I can see the team getting stronger and stronger. And I think it's definitely got stronger with MDG back, holding it all together. Apart from one weak post, which is off target, isn't it, Al? So yeah, I'm not entirely sure that I agree with Danny. That if it weren't for him, we'd be mid-table. If we didn't have a goalkeeper at all, we'd be mid-table. We'd be bottom of the table. We didn't have a goalkeeper at all because every shot would go in. It's a bit, I think there's been other, like I said, Harry Eisted last year, good goalkeeper, made some really good saves for us. And Liam Roberts has done the same this season. It's, he's got us some points this time, but, 6 clean sheets is not just down to one player, particularly given it's a brand new defence. He's playing behind a brand new defence and they're playing in front of him. So, it's part of a bigger picture, I think. But that's not negating anything that he's done because he's been superb.
Yeah, I think he's saved. Is it 44 goals, Josh? 44 saves.
It's something like that. It's definitely. I think it was high 30s last time I looked, and that's before we played Exeter. So I imagine you made a few in there that probably did pump it up. I think it is. I think there is one thing that I've got a slight concern of at the minute is there seems to be a lack of plan B if plan A is not working. When you look back to the Blackpool game, which tactically Neil Critchley seems like he did a number on us, really putting Dougal in there, other midfielder sort of in between the hole and stopping us playing out. and really isolated Harry Kane in that game, not allowing him to turn it all and face. How much of a problem is that, Craig? Because obviously when we did make the subs and brought Cosgrove on, it did stretch the game a touch more, and we had a little bit more success, especially in that Blackpool game as an example. Is that one thing we need to sort of focus and work on now, of sort of having something against those sides that are going to make it difficult for us to break down?
Okay, so the way that we play football, I think it's fairly obvious that we use a lot down the wings. We use as wing backs a hell of a lot in attack, and I think teams are getting wise to that. When we lost against Portsmouth, I was frustrated because I can't believe we didn't match them up. We didn't go for it back, a 4-2-3-1, because we could have quite easily have pulled the defender off and put another attacker on, and matched them up, and then would have been able to press a lot more effectively, having the 4 players up the pitch rather than just the 2. So the plan B is something he needs to work on, because teams, I mean, we all stats that you can get now, and the teams are going to work on countering what we can provide. So I think it's just going to be smart played now to start figuring out what can we do when plan A doesn't work. And I think teams can defend just as effectively with 4 at back. You just don't allow your wing backs to go up as high. But that's why you've got wingers. So for me, he's got to be willing to change it up, and I think he's been a bit reluctant so far. But I think that could also because he doesn't know if players will be able to play certain roles in a different formation. Plus, once you've been playing 3 at the back for so long, it's so hard to go back to 4. I think I've heard of quite a few players say that you're so used to having 2 teammates back there, and obviously if your wing backs push up, there's just you and another guy. So I think that could be another factor. But just to back up my point about us home and away form, the 6 home games we've had, 3 of them are now in the top 4 along with us. And the away form, every team we've played, there's only 1 that's in the top half, and that's Exeter. We're 11th. So I do think
Wigan as well, though, Craig. I mean, if it hadn't been for the points deduction when we played Wigan away, they were top of the league. They'd have been top of the league without the 8 points. So
yeah, but they had a red card as well. So
they had a player sent off. Yeah.
So that's their handicap as well.
Well, you can only play what's in front of you, though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think we need to dive into it too deep. I don't think it's an issue. I think it's something that will level out over time when we start playing a few better teams away and then start playing a few easier teams at home. I think it'll level out. A plan B is an issue, and it's something that I think Collins needs to figure out.
I'll tell you what I think about a plan B, Craig. And we had it possibly last year. At the minute, we're replacing like with like, which is, how it is. We haven't got many people that I would call, natural dribblers, if you like. The Barry Cotter has a go, but there's not many. What we get on the left-hand side, particularly, whichever one's playing, will take it to the wing and then cross it without beating the man, which is fine, but the man can then get a block in. There's not many people taking players on and beating them and getting past them by beating them, as Luke Thomas did last year.
That's one of the things I said at the beginning of the season that we were going to lose.
Yeah, for me, I think we need to sign at least a winger, maybe someone that we know can go at him and take it round somebody, because that causes mayhem. And we've seen a few teams do that against us and look dangerous, particularly down the wings, so it's wingers in particular. And that's where you get a plan B from. At the minute, I don't think we've got a plan B because I'm not sure
I want
we've
Josh
got the
Benson
players
to
that
get
do it.
fit, Andy, I want Benson to get back on form.
But I don't know that's going to be a plan B, Al. I mean, I ain't got a problem with him playing at all.
When he come on, it's not for Cotter, for Russell, John Russell, and laid it back. I think it's creativity what we've been missing as well.
I think what I would do personally, and I get your point completely about wingers. I think we did lose a lot with Luke Thomas, but I think getting Callum Styles back has helped.
Yeah,
I think he could do a job on the wing. I think McAtee could do a job on the wing. He's somebody that's not afraid to run at a guy. Barry Cotter, as you said, stick him out right and he'll put crosses in all day. Devante Cole maybe if he's feeling up to it, because some days he just lays it off and don't fancy doing much, and other days he'll run full length at pitch with ball. So I think there's options. It's something to be strengthened. But the only thing is, when you're signing a winger and they see that you don't play a formation with wingers, they're going to be like, well, where do I fit in here? You know, and nobody's going to come to sit on bench as a plan B option if we need them. So that could be something difficult. Unless you could find, I don't know, maybe another Callum Styles, somebody that can play a multiple of positions and be comfortable doing it.
Do you think plan B has to be a change of formation though? Because
Yeah,
you look
I
at
do.
but you look at last season, Duff didn't really like his plan B one changing formations. It'd be or necessarily drop into a four at back or things like that. It'd just be slight tweaks of dropping someone into all behind, like when he bring Luke Thomas on just to be behind the front two, or bring another forward on and make it a 5-2-3.
That is a change of formation though. If you drop
No, but it's
somebody in,
not. It's not like such
it's
whole
not a major
changes.
one. Yeah, I get
It's not.
you.
It's not like against Portsmouth.
Well,
like we went
we
4-2-3-1
tried
out
that.
of nowhere.
When he first come in, Collins, the first couple of games, that's what he did with Styles, and then we started getting overrun in midfield because he was staying up a little too close to strikers, and then he had to revert back. Now I have seen him do it when we have been up against it, when we needed a goal. I've seen him put Styles back there, but sometimes I think against the bigger teams, you've just got to throw more bodies forward, and I don't think just pushing. I think you've really just got to have a flat back four, just staying there, and then just let everybody else loose. You know, maybe have one sitting midfielder who's not going to venture too far forward, but the rest just allow them to go up there and just press the hell out of them. Especially if you're losing, you know, you're not going to lose anything by letting 5 guys loose on running after the ball after their defenders, and you know, ultimately allowing them to kick it long so our defenders can snaffle it up.
But you've got to give credit to Neill Collins on Saturday for changing it and making it subs, because his substitutions won that game for us in final
They're
minute.
getting better over time.
And
His
he's
substitutions
learning.
are.
He's learning.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I think that's another thing as well, where you look at sort of all them tweets as well of it's almost so he's not found that sweet spot yet of that starting 11. Aliza is still sort of tweaking and finding it. Obviously, it were unchanged from Cambridge to Exeter, if I'm right. But obviously that it didn't have sort of the same effects or the same impacts. But then you look at players coming off the bench, they then came and did what you want someone to come off the bench and do.
Well, they're chomping at bit, aren't they? The professional footballers, they want to prove a point. They want to be in starting 11. So they all come on and did a job and tremendously well. I mean, that goal, as I said, Owen Dodgson, the link up with McAtee were brilliant. And all started, as we said, by, he can't say his name, for Melda Gavigny. There you go. I'll say it, Andy.
MDG.
MDG. And then Herbie Kane, yes, straight away passed it to McAtee, didn't he? McAtee then over to wing to Dodson, and what a first time cross. I mean, that takes some doing to pinpoint a ball onto somebody's head. So
can I just ask you a question, Josh?
As well. Of course.
This is something I'd love to hear your thoughts on.
No one's ever said that.
Do you
or
think
ever will again?
Do you think we've got too many players that run hot and cold? They're either brilliant or they're rubbish. Because I think Williams is a solid 7 out of 10 every game. I don't think we've got enough of them players. I think we've got too many players that run hot and cold.
I think there is an element in that. I think we can see that sort of with the inconsistency of performances sometimes. Like there's sometimes when you look at that first half against Cambridge and also the second half against Portsmouth, to be honest, even though the game had gone at that point, when everyone's firing and playing at them 7, 8s, 9s, 10s, we look a really, really strong side. It's just every now and again, there's too many that'll dip below that 6 or 7. And we do seem to struggle then from that point. And I think we normally see that against them sides that sit back and sort of invite us on in a way and just sit and play a nice low block and go on, pass it side to side. And we're like, oh no, now what do we do? It's like, oh no, every time we go we go wide, we're surrounded by 3. Every time we go through middle, we're surrounded by 3. So it is. I do think there is a couple of players that I like to see a little bit more consistency from in that regard. But again, I think it'll come with time. And obviously, new back 3, even that, they've been chopping and changing within it. We've had McCart play there, Lapata play there, MDG play there. Shepherd as well.
Jack.
There's been 4 or 5 players in that back three, so it's been hard to get that consistency and hard to allow players to play that 6 and 7. Like, it's sort of the stalwarts players that are, are in there. Jordan Williams, like you said, who's sort of a 7, 6, 7, steady away every week. I think Irby Kane probably drops into that as well. But you know what you're going to get from him, and they're like the safe players. So I would say that we are a little bit hot and cold at the minute, and I also think it's game dependent as well of how they set up against us. That makes it a little bit trickier as well for us. So that's my thoughts on that.
Neill Collins has said that he hasn't found his 11 starting. He wants a settled team, doesn't he? He wants to get his first 11, and he's still sorting that one out to try and find that. And I said we're 12 games in, and if he's 12 games in, he's trying to get it. He's still not found, I don't think, his best side.
Like I say, I think that consistency goes in with that, though, because you want to settle the 11, but you need them to be consistent, because they're going to keep dropping out your side if they're not getting you 7s, 8s, 10 out of 10 every game. So, yeah, again, it just falls back into that hot and cold thing. But like I say, it's just good to have them options off the bench when somebody is running a little bit cold. You can just swap them out, and that's what happened in last game. And I think ultimately that's what won us the game.
And that's good to happen, isn't it? Because players are human beings after all, and they're going to have good days and bad days. Like coaches catching fire as an example. They're all going to have good days and bad days. Sometimes they're going to be on it, sometimes they're not. Look at the two wing backs recently. Whichever two have played have started well. They've come on, 2 have come on and played superbly. They've started the next match, and the 2 that's them come on that they replaced.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Have been superb themselves. Cadden and Dodgson on the left-hand side. It's nip and tuck, and what one starts and does all right, the other one comes on as on fire, and then the other way around. Same way at right back. Personally, I think it's going to be interesting when Kasper Lepata is back, because he may well be able to play or be picked to play on the right-hand side of the defence, because I like to see Jordan Williams as a wing back rather than as a centre half. He's got the speed to be a centre half, and that's been helpful. But he's not quite as physically strong as some of the others. And I like him at wing back because he does get at him and gets down that wing. When he's got it, gets down that wing like
season,
lightning.
He won games single-handedly last season.
Like lightning
Williams,
down that wing.
I thought it was brilliant.
So I'd like to see him at wing back, truthfully.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I agree. And also he can play left wing back too. He is so versatile, that kid. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And I think he missed 2 days. He missed out for being his longest serving player behind Callum Styles. Yeah. It's somebody I've really enjoyed watching over years and seeing him grow as well from
a kid, 18-year-old kid. Yeah,
I remember a few seasons ago when we had like one right wing back, one left wing back, and it was terrible. It was horrible to watch. Not being able to. I mean, we were just putting Williams here, there, and everywhere. It's been a real asset over the years.
What I will say about Collins, though, his sides, what we've got now, the fighting to last death out there to final minute. We are not sitting back. If we're trying our hardest, and that's all you want to see as a Barnsley fan. All you want to see that our team give 110%, and we are getting that. For me, we are seeing and fighting to end.
I know there's one thing I've noticed in Neill Collins from, I can't remember what game. I think it might have been Port Vale, to be honest. At that point with 3 or 4-0 up, but he still wanted that same intensity and sort of the same ask and demand as though it were 0-0. And I've seen that a couple of times so far. Like when we've been, in the few occasions we have been in the lead at home, and looking comfortable. He still wants that same standard, the same level. I think. I forget who against, but it was Lepata wouldn't play the ball out wide right a few times, and he was going ballistic at him. And I think it might have been against Port Vale, and we were 3-0 up at this point, and I genuinely thought he were going to drag him off because he wasn't doing what he wanted him to do. And then I think the one time he did do it, went and scored, and I was like, you know what, you do know what you're on about and what you want from this side. So I think we're in good hands. I think to round off the Neill Collins debate, where do you think we will finish this season? I'll give some of us who predicted outside the playoffs me and you, Craig, I'll give some of us a chance to
Naysayers, Al.
to realign. Because no doubt Al will go first with optimism. But I'm going to come to you first, Andy. Where do you think we'll finish this season? You don't have to give a position, but automatic playoffs.
I said at the start of the season that we'd finished sixth, and that was fully in the light of that everything had changed, because I thought that we'd gradually get it together. We've got it together, except for the home form, as we've said, a lot quicker than I thought we would, especially given the summer and the pre-season and all that. So I still think we can finish in the playoffs. I think that's the most likely. Depending on circumstances, it could be higher, it could be lower, but I'll take a middle ground and say the playoffs. And I want to beat Sheffield Wednesday in final and all. Oh, I can't, can I? Oh, no.
Portsmouth had you their wheels to fall off, because I know when I looked at last season table, Portsmouth was second at this point in the season.
Oh, they'll go down. They'll go.
Yeah, so wheels will fall off their season at some point soon. Al, what about you? I'm assuming first champion in a Centurion season from you.
Get in there. I mean, I've seen Yorkshire Post on Twitter put out there's been a simulation on points to end of season. They've got Bolton going up as champions, and they've got us on 84 points going up second. So, to be honest, if we can sort his home form out, it's the home form what's worrying me at the moment. We can be up there. There's nobody to fear in this league, to be honest. As I said, it's a poor League One this season. So if we can't get up this season, and for me, we've got to get out this season. We can't be dwelling in League One season after season. So I'm going for second. On the away form, keep away form going, and touch home form. Yeah, there's no reason why not.
I knew you'd come good there. We're an automatic place there.
He says that all the time, though, Josh. He says second even when we finish much lower, and then tries to claim credit for it.
I'm sure he said second. It seems we finished dead last in Championship, didn't he?
It says second every time.
Craig.
Don't you start on me, because there's no Mr. Beardsall to ever go at. Don't start on me.
As if I'd start on my mate. As if.
I've had 66 years of this, Simcock, so leave it alone.
You've had better than me starting on you, Al, haven't you? Much better than me starting on you.
Craig, how's it gone for you then so far this first 12? Have we creeping to top six for you?
Yeah. I think as defence is holding up well compared to what I thought. I think Roberts also adding to that is just putting that confidence higher. If Devante can keep up his goal scoring form, I can't see a reason why we can't be right up there. There's 2, possibly 3 teams who I think have got a good shout. I think Peterborough have always had a strong lineup. It's whether their defence can hold, because their attack's brilliant. Portsmouth, I think they are the Ipswich of this season. I think they're going to be absolutely flawless all season. From what I saw and the players they've got, they're going to be number 1 for me. I think we're going to finish third. I think we'll probably just get pipped by either Oxford or Peterborough, but I think we'll go through with playoffs.
Interesting, sneaking up there. What do I think?
Say, because Derby and Blackpool have been poor as well. I was expecting them to be a lot higher than what they are. Charlton as well, I think they've been poor, even though they signed Alfie May. I thought they were going to be playoffs, but they've just been poor.
I think Charlton have just got rid of the manager, and I think they'll probably turn a corner soon. I think they'll have that late surge towards it. I think if we do make playoffs, I think we'll probably scrape it. I don't think we'll be confidently in there. I do think, because there's a few sides that I think are still yet to it form and come forward. I think Bolton will come strong at some point. I agree with you with Blackpool and Derby, Craig. I've been somewhat disappointed with them in the way in which they've approached this season as well. So I reckon we'll scrape playoffs, or we'll make it into the playoffs, and then it's a lottery at that point. I'm not. We'll just see. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be an entertaining season, mate.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be in the world, though. I do disagree with you, Al. I don't think it'll be in the world if we don't go up this season, because I would see this as a rebuild to get the structure in place to then go again next season. Because you look at the amount of money we've turned over this season, there's either reinvestment in January or the summer. So if we don't go up, it's reinvestment in January. And yeah, we might lose a couple, but it's playing that you're playing that game then of will Luke O'Connell stay or go? If he goes, he's going for big money because he signed that new contract. And
Well,
we'll,
Swansea want Collins this time. That's
Well-
what I've been looking for.
we'll
Who's going to
see.
nick his head coach again?
January could make a difference. To
Yeah,
us,
I think
if
that's
we recruit, it
where
could be
we'll
really
see.
good, and we've got the money. But we've got a few players, including Devante and Herbie Kane, who are in the last year of the contracts. Who we might sell. Who knows what's going to happen? You would hope not, given that we've generated a few quid in the summer. So hopefully not. But if somebody offers daft money, what can a club like
Roberts
us do?
and I'll be happy. Just sign Roberts, and you know what?
After,
You don't have to do
Neill
anything
Collins,
else.
knock on the door at recruitment team every week. Knock on that door and get him sorted. I told him at Eden's Bar, knock on door. We need him, don't we?
Get him told, Al.
We need Liam Roberts. Liam Roberts is the future. And Way's passionate after every away game when we win. If you see him, he's just tremendous. He loves our club. So why can't we love him and get him?
That's it. And don't leave it till last knockings and let somebody else come and get him, like I said. Please get it wrapped up in Jan.
Well, I think that just about covers the Neill Collins and how we look for in the future. But most importantly, the mini competition came to an end against Exeter, and I know for a fact I've not won it. And
I won it.
Yep. And Tony
Carlson.
Carlson.
Everybody know who has.
And Tony Carlson, I've done that twice now. Yeah. Very generously passed on the opportunity of a match in the box to whoever finished second. And Andy, you have the results.
Oh, it were a tense time. It were probably more tense than the flipping game itself on Saturday. Right. When it was 0-0, remember it was 0-0 until the 89th minute. When it was 0-0, Tony had obviously won it. We knew Tony had won it. But in second place, vying, although some couldn't have it and some could, Craig were at equal second with RMB, so Craig couldn't have it. So RMB, Big Kev, not sure what to do about Big Kev because he were there and all. Laura Hunter, partner of Tom Webster, were there. Tracy Martin, if it were 0-0, snuck in, but she couldn't have won it anyway. And Noah Simcox, who can predict better than a 9-year-old. He were there. But it didn't finish 0-0. Shamefully, some respects, it didn't finish 2-0 because if it had been 2-0, if John McAtee had smacked that into rigging instead of putting it wide when he were through on goal, Tony would still have won. But in second place were two people, RMB and my grandson, Noah Simcox. So it'd be toss of a coin. Noah could have won it. Then it'd have made us all look stupid like George did last year. But he didn't. He didn't. So thanks to John McAtee coming up on the ropes past all them right at the death with 1 minute of normal time to go to secure second place. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. He overtook all them that I've just talked about by 1 point. Andrew Laycock, he won it. Andrew Laycock, he finished second, a point above all others except Tony, obviously. So well, because he predicted 1-0, as did Tony. Tony thrashed it. He went miles in front. Certainly miles in front. But Andrew Laycock, well done, Andrew. You've done well. You could well see yourself in a box with some of these ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
There's
Andrew,
2 places as well, isn't it, for him?
I think so. I feel like I should definitely have known that.
I mean, it's entirely up to Andrew with picks, but he always puts a score prediction for him and his lad Jack. So if you don't take Jack, Andrew, that's not right.
A massive congratulations to Tony and Andy then for coming first and second in the mini competition. Tony, we will liaise with you for your shirt and sort out which one you want, what size and everything. And Andy will sort out with you for the box experience for the game. Both of you get in contact either by Twitter, Facebook, email, any of that. I'll put all them in the description below. And yeah, we can sort it out from there. We'll see you later, you Reds.